G'day everyone, now in this episode I'm going to be modifying my Hilux headlights. I've picked up some brand new units and I've picked up some halo lights and I've picked up some sequential strip lights right here. So I'm going to be pulling the lens off this headlight, drilling some holes, sticking those lights in and wiring it all up. Now these are my old headlights and for those of you that have been to the channel before, you would have seen them completely blacked out. Now I had a go at painting them silver again on the inside with a black trim around the edge. I haven't shown you that, but I'm really not happy with the silver paint. It's not quite as reflective as I'd hoped, and it's a bit runny, and it was an epoxy paint which reacted with the other paint, so it kind of crinkled up and I just gave up, and I decided to buy some brand new ones and start fresh. So just for a side-by-side comparison, that's the brand new one. This is the one that I've had a hard time painting. And you can see the paint was just runny and crap, so I gave up on that. Now as you can see, these are two parts. You've got the lens and you've got the bucket. So I'll show you how to take this lens off. It's going to involve putting the headlight in an oven, and we've got to heat that up to loosen up the glue. Once it's hot enough, we can pry that lens off. So I'll show you how to do that now. So you just want to set a timer for 10 minutes, conventional at 100 degrees. Alright, just while we wait for that to heat up, you're going to need a trim removal tool, something plastic, to pry the lens away from the bucket. Now, the glue is pretty strong, the heat helps, but you still got to fight it a bit, so a pry tool like this that isn't going to damage anything is what you want. And you just want some gloves. First of all, it's going to be hot, even though 100 degrees isn't a lot when you're cooking, but it's still 100 degrees Celsius, so it will be hot in your hands, and some gloves like this will help protect that. And also, if the plastic goes soft and you're wearing these gloves, you're not going to get any fingerprints or oil impregnating the plastic. So this is what we need. Once it's heated up, I'll show you how to just pry it apart, and then we'll be ready to do some painting and install our aftermarket lights. Alright, just to be on the safe side, I would check your headlights after 5 minutes at 100 degrees Celsius, and if you can try and get the headlight apart then that's all you'll need. But if 5 minutes isn't quite long enough, just keep an eye on it, give it another few minutes. But yeah, you really don't want to be melting your headlight because it is possible, but yeah, just keep an eye on it and 5 minutes might be enough. Alright, we just want to pull any obvious clips off, like this metal one here to start with. And then we've got these tabs which we've got to lever up. And then we just want to start prying that lens. Alright, now that glue's made a bit of a mess, but we'll clean that up and we'll do the other one. Alright, now that these are apart, we're just going to clean up that glue with some wax and grease remover. Test it on the bottom where you're not going to see it first, see how it reacts with the paint. I wouldn't go using acetone, that's probably a bit too strong, but this wax and grease remover seems to be working pretty well. So we'll get all that glue off and get ready for paint. Now if you are buying lights online and they're cheap and they're from eBay like mine, it's a good idea to bench test them. This here is just a 240 to 12 volt converter. You could just use a car battery. Now there's 3 wires on these. We've got a negative, a positive, and a trigger for the turn signals. It's all working, I've checked them all, and I'm happy to go ahead installing these. Alright, now it's time for the scary part. We're going to be drilling a couple of holes in our headlights. One thing I did do so that I didn't have to drill as big a hole was take this plastic cover off. The first thing to decide is a length and how you want this to fit. because you can cut these strip lights down to length in bays of 3. So if you don't cut it in the right area, basically you're going to have a couple of dead LEDs at the end of the light. So you basically just want to cut it roughly to length. I'll get some power into this and then see where those dead LEDs are, and then I can cut them off as I need. So you can see on the end there it's a bit dead, so I'll just cut it to that point. I'll check my length. I'm pretty happy with that. Now there is a cap on the end which you'll have to pull off and glue back on. Now I know I'm going to have to drill a hole up in here, so we'll do that, glue it on, and then tape it on so it doesn't move. Alright, now the glue I'm using is just neutral cure silicone. You probably don't want the acidic cure stuff because that could ruin the paint, but you just want to get a bit in here to seal up your cut and glue that end cap back on. I'm also going to use this to stick this on because I don't trust that double-sided tape so much. Alright, now that our strip light is stuck down really well, we can move on to our halo. Same thing, we just got to drill a hole. I'm going to detach the harness so I can drill a smaller hole. And to keep things consistent, you can kind of pick a point, like a defining feature of the headlight. And then when I glue it on, I can glue it on right to where it changes from flat to a bit of a ramp, right in that line there. So I'm just picking some nice lines that I can use as reference marks so that when I glue this on, I can do it again on the other headlight. Now you just want to take your time with gluing this on. You don't want too much silicone, but you do want it to hold itself in position. It's a bit awkward to tape this down, especially in my situation, so I'm just going to get it looking good by eyeball and leave it at that and just match it as best as I can to the other one. Alright, I've just got these drying in the sun and I've taped them to these little stools because one of them already blew off, which you probably heard in the background. Fuck. Alright, everything's dry, so we're going to give it a final clean and then we'll heat that glue up with a heat gun. I don't want to put these back in the oven. I don't want to melt any solder or these new lights that I've put in, so I'm sure the heat gun will do the trick just on the glue. Snap them back together and then we'll throw them in the car. Alright, when it comes to wiring, all you need is an earth, an indicator, power source, and a just Parker light source or a headlight source, up to you. I replaced these indicators here with LED lights down here. So I actually just cut the plugs off these. There was already an existing plug that was down there, but I've just brought it up out here. Wired the plug onto my new headlights, and now I can just plug it in that way. So it's pretty simple to wire it up, and once you have, you're good to go. So let's put all this together and see how it looks. Alright, that's everything installed. Pretty bloody happy with how they look. I was a bit worried about how things would glue together and how the silicone would hold and trying to get things into position, but it all worked out pretty well. You hardly notice any of the silicone in there, especially when the lights are on. The indicators look awesome. I love the whole sequential vibe of it. It looks really cool. So give this one a go yourselves. You know, feel free to paint them as well. I'm glad I painted that bezel around the edge. It really ties in well with the grille and the side lights. So I definitely recommend doing that if you've got something similar to what I've got going on. And other than that, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. And until next time, thanks for watching.